I thought it'd be cool to go back to the same position DJM video, but time didn't permit, so I found this old abandoned haunted warehouse. I thought it'd be better. Anyway, what we got is 4.5-inch John Rods drop beams on a 69 Ford F250 Camper Special. Had them on for about a year now. I wanted to do a video for John Rods. I still get a lot of views and a lot of comments about the DJM drop beams, and I need to give John Rod a shout out because this is another option that you can do for your F250s or F100s. It's kind of cool that you're able to actually use F100 lowering beams on an F250 if you have the 7/8 size kingpin. So what we got is the John Rod's 4.5-inch drop beams in the front, a 6-inch flip kit in the rear with an additional 1-inch lowering block underneath the flip kit bracket. So it's a 7 1/4 in the rear, and it's a 5-inch drop in the front. The beams are 4.5, but according to my measurements, I got lucky and got 5 inches out of them. Running 16s now. I got rid of the 16s and a half, and I had them for about a year. The ride's really good. Just wanted to give a shout out, give you another option rods, because he builds in some positive camber into the beam, so you're able to actually put a lowering spring in addition to his beams and still have no negative camber. So let's take a look at that camber. We have absolutely no negative camber. That's 5-inch drop right there. Let's go take a look at the beams. There we go. Brand new sticker, brand new springs. They're Moog 8228. I don't know what your vehicle calls for. He builds the beams from the actual stock F100 beam. The little notch there is for a drum brake for an F100. If you have an F250, don't order it with drum brakes, order it with disc brakes, and you won't have that notch there. It'll be solid. Doesn't hurt anything with the notch there, but if you don't want it, order it with disc brakes. Once again, this F250 came standard with 7/8 kingpin, the same size as an F100. So there really wasn't any modifications whatsoever to put these on. They'll just bolt right on with my 8-lug spindle. Still have plenty of ground clearance. But it did nicely take all the gap out of the fender. And the tire is actually tucked underneath there, baby. That thing is under there. And that's why I say it was a 5-inch drop, according to my stock measurements in the front. And with the block in that 7 1/4 in the rear. Let me get you a shot of the rear of what I did there. Being that it has the Flexomatic with the double spring hanger, I couldn't just put a lowering shackle on it. Some say that they do work, some say that they don't. So what I did is I just, for that additional clearance, I just put a 1-inch block under it. You can also just throw some weight in the back. I think that it would ride so much better with a Flexomatic spring setup if you just put weight in the back, but to accommodate the lower drop in the front, I had to lower the rear just a little more. So that's a 6-inch flip kit. Of course, I did the C-notch. Not even close to the C-notch. See, if you do a flip kit on an F100 or an F250, you got to really see whether or not you're going to need that C-notch or not. You could imagine how much lower that thing will go if it was tucked all the way into that C-notch. That'd be like an 11 or 12, 13-inch drop there. But of course your axle would hit the bed before you did that, so you'd have to cut your bed out, which I really don't want to do. So 2-inch bump stop right to the axle tube that keeps my top of my Dana 60 from hitting the bed, which it never did. I also added, when you do the flip kits, your shocks are not going to line up. So I added a bracket, which is actually a shock extension. And it extends it away from the factory shock mounts so that your shock will be mounted at more in the proper position. Now these are pretty tall tires. These are 215/85, so they're pretty tall. They're about 30.5 inches or close to 31 inches. They're pretty tall. I could have used shorter tire. Those are also 16s. That's a 16.6 in the front, 16.7 in the rear. The rear tires are wider. They're 245/75s. 245/75 16. So it has a nice stock lowered look. I'm giving you guys another option for your 250s other than DJMs. All right, guys, later.